Kikis. I feel like
nice.
Kikis is the primary playmaker. We say his name again. I just want him on a playmaking champion. I don't care if it's Gragas, if it's Lee Sin. Just give me something where Kikis has agency and control in the game.
CC, because the Nocturne was not a good look. It thought the team was lost, could not play together. Now, interesting, I like the Lucian ban coming out here on the side of Schalke. That is one of the good game that Heaq has had this season was on the Lucian, so taking that off, just making sure. Also, just in general, a very high priority ban.
For Schalke, however, in terms of what they want, you can have anything. I actually have that much faith in Schalke, and because they are that flexible as a team, and I think it goes into their strength of kind of a jack-of-all-trades style of team, I don't care what type of composition they draft. I don't care if the carry is on Odo, if the hyper carry is on Upset, if it's Abbedagge who's now pulling on the hyper carries. I feel like Schalke might be one of the most frustrating teams to draft against because they can hit you from any point. They're almost like G2.
Almost.
Almost.
Being the key word there, but Urgot has been left open. And not to put too much attention towards Sheffius again, but he did say that this was the one ingredient that went good into everything. And so we do see the Urgot, no surprises, taken out by the side of Rogue. Odoamne hovering that signature pick from years and years ago.
I think it was actually Kikis who, on Twitter, I'll have to double check, but was making a joke that he had a dream that he was playing Rammus jungle.
Ah.
So I think it's also a cheeky nod there.
Oh, there you go. Not a dream, this is reality, so Jayce is going to be the pick instead. Locked in here for Odo, so incredibly strong pick for Odoamne in the top lane. And for Finn, first game going toe-to-toe against Odoamne's Jayce. That is a terrifying process, most certainly. You have to wonder if maybe they switch some picks around to set him up in a more comfortable matchup. We will find out, as Upset has also gotten his Ezreal.
And I feel like it's kind of the perfect storm meta for Schalke to really rise up here. I have bought my my tickets. I am all aboard the Schalke hype train. I feel like because the fact that crit 80 carries got more viable, even though it is the standard Ezreal coming out of Upset, and that Odo can still play carries as opposed to tank, it's like the perfect everything for Schalke.
And now we see the Braum coming out as an answer to the Ezreal. We'll see if Rogue can find something perfect of their own in this meta. Looks like Sivir will be the choice paired with it, so can mitigate some of the Ezreal impact, and now we're looking at those late game team fights, or rather those 3-item power spikes, more importantly 4 or 5, good for Sivir as well.
I really like that what did is the 6th man on this roster right now instead of Vander.
Look, what's important to note is that that is a typo, and that we are aware, and that we are working on it, Frosco. It's a work in progress, and for now, the draft continues, as we do have Gragas hovered over and locked in, and I love seeing this pick because it can be flexed down to the bot lane. It can be IgNar picking that one up. And it makes me wonder where exactly it's going to go. Would love to see it in the hands of Memento, but taking away from Kikis, also incredibly important. And I think one of the tough spots for Rogue now is that they now enter the second ban phase, Froskurinn, with no jungler locked in, and that leaves Kikis wide open.
And with the Gragas, Ezreal, and Jayce pick already locked in, I really do want to hone in on Vander down there in that support position because he got the Braum pick and how influential Braum can be in denying a lot of what those champions want to do in terms of the ultimate, in terms of the pick, or the poke damage. There we go. We got him.
Karthus taken away, denied from this lineup. Poke is going to be an interesting thing to follow. We'll see if any of those other champions are taken away. The Sejuani banned out here. So despite the fact that the Gragas has been locked in, they are still respecting the potential for a Gragas flex pick.
And I think you would expect that it would go into IgNar's hands. It's a playmaking, bloodthirsty style champion. IgNar likes to play kill-oriented bot lanes, so things like the Gragas, like the Thresh, fit.
Now we're going to see what the last ban is going to be here on the side of Schalke. I wonder if they are just going to take another jungle away. They take away Kikis' Nocturne too, so I think you talked about Kikis being the avenue for this team to win the game, and it seems like Schalke are very clearly aware of that.
And they've eliminated 2 junglers, the Karthus and the Nocturne, that can really impact Odo in a side lane in a possible 1v1 scenario. You have to think, if this Jayce gets super far ahead, both those champions, Karthus and Nocturne, can play 1-3-1 really well because they can act as a swing. And if Jayce is super far forward, they can instantly cross the map or impact cross-map and deny him a lot of pressure. So if this goes into Odo's hands or even Abbedagge's hands, Schalke can play these 1-3-1s.
And a good option to have. We've seen how proficient they could be and how often they get such a big lead playing these 1-3-1 comps that they can just instantly turn it into a team fight. And that flexibility is part of what makes Schalke so terrifying. And it looks like the Gragas flex pick respect ban, taking that Sejuani away, was well founded. Is the Lee Sin now coming in from Memento. The Gragas should go down to the bot lane in the hands of IgNar. Want to see how that one will work out. And now Rogue, 2 last picks to come in to round out the rest of this composition, expecting to see a jungler and a mid or top laner. What are the options going to be? You can see a bit of hesitation there on Heaq's face.
Corki. I like blind Corki. His options for a blind pick, safe pick would be something like the LeBlanc, Syndra. Corki also falls into that. Shephius, Flexius, Vedius, man by many names. Was talking about how Corki's now back into the meta because of the Infinity Edge changes, and it feels really good on his build.
Excellent flavor combo in the draft there. Now the Poppy locked in as well. I like this one coming into the top lane, limiting some of these dash and engage options. Now you can stop people from dashing into you.
It's the Kikis special. It's the jungle Poppy.
That's what I want. You're right. Thank you, Froskurinn. I'm getting ahead of myself. Kikis pulling out the jungle Poppy will limit the ability for the Lee Sin to go in. A bit hard for Lee Sin to dictate the pace of a lot of those trades. Also difficult for the Gragas to get on top of that back line. So a lot of options. Once again, we see Schalke turning towards a 1-3-1 style composition, as you predicted, Froskurinn. And now we'll have to see how Rogue want to fight this one back. Looks like a lot of great team fighting tools on the Rogue lineup.
And it is the standard kind of composition coming out of Schalke. A lot of comfort picks across the board for all of them. And even though I feel like Schalke could draft anything, and I would default to trusting them on any type of draft, they do have a blueprint that they like to work with. They like to have Memento and IgNar dominate the early game. These guys hold hands, they roam everywhere, get early plays going. Mid-game rolls around. It's all about Odo and Abbedagge and how they work about setting up team fights. They're so good at their target selection, their positioning in team fights, and then late game it hands over into upset. And so that's kind of the 1-2-3 knockout punch from Schalke.
So we have the perfect formula for victory on the side of Schalke. It's worked well for them so far, only dropping a few games here in the league, but now we get to find out what Rogue can do to disrupt that. They have a lot of powerful tools at their disposal. The Corki, very strong on 9.3, alongside that Urgot, the Sivir for those late game fights, and Kikis with that special Poppy Jungle pocket pick. Is it going to be enough, though, as we enter game? That is always the question. A lot of the odds, no doubt, stacked against Rogue and their new players. Vander returning to the stage for the first time in a long time, playing against former bot lane partner Upset. It's going to be interesting to watch.
And I really want to echo Vedius' sentiment when they were talking about, why do you make these types of substitutions? When it felt that Prophet and Wadid weren't necessarily the problem. Something is going wrong for Rogue, but why is this the solution? And I feel like they nailed it. It has to be something about communication. We know that Vander is a very vocal member into a team. So hopefully this cleans up some of the cohesion for Rogue, and they can look much closer on the same page.
We will find out. Rogue versus Schalke, and now heading onto the Rift as both teams leave their respective bases and set up for the early jungle. It is going to be the standard 5-point here in the early game. All 5 members are going to line up along this river. Let's see, maybe contest each other for a little bit of vision here, but for now it looks like both teams content to play on their side of the map.
Drakos, are you the Poppy jungle expert? I don't have a lot of experience with Kikis.
So, for me, Poppy jungle with electrocute. Now, I remember the Predator era quite well. I remember the Aftershock
flying
era.
Out of that jungle.
Brief. Poppy does a lot of burst damage, right, Frosco? And the mitigation on Lee Sin's Sonic Wave does deny a lot of his potential follow-up damage. So while I don't think he's really going to beat the Lee Sin trades, Lee Sin does not just get to reactivate Q freely.
See, what I'm thinking is that having a Poppy jungle, you'd also open up the ability to dive towers pretty easily because Poppy is so innately tanky.
True. Gaining those additional resistances once below that certain health percentage. Not as nuts as old Poppy, but definitely still very strong. And I want to see where Kikis is going to put that attention, because that is always the question. Which lane does he want to play around? Does he just leave Heaq and Vander on their own? Does he put some of that attention up to Finn, the new player on the lineup? Or is Sencux going to be the guy that they look to put down some of that early jungle pressure? For now, it's going to be Kikis getting the full leash, whereas Memento on the top side will start without anything. And Upset and IgNar just waiting here.
This could be possibly big BM. They walk into this, obviously getting down some free damage. Heaq though, and Vander, I did it. They're going the long way. They suspected.
Not going to fall for it, but IgNar's in the bush. They will spot. No, completely taking the safe way, risking nothing. I like that. Given the respect for the potential cheese, Ezreal level 1 and Gragas level 1 are quite strong.
This does also, I believe, hide information. I don't think they got perfect information where Memento started in his jungle pathing.
It's going to be a solid start. It looks like Memento is going to be going for that level 3 clear Froskurinn. They may try to get the same thing for Kikis on the opposite side, so slower starts for both junglers. I wonder if we'll see a level 2 or level 3 gank come out. Kikis actually maybe the one to try to get something started, but the river has already been warded, so they are going to have information on where Kikis is.
See what Memento does with it. You would imagine that he'll just trade jungle path, so take his Raptor camp and then run to Scuttle. Actually, an on the way ping right on top of Kikis. I think they're just pointing out where he is.
Fair enough. And interestingly, doesn't opt to go for the Scuttle, knows that he can take that later, instead just focuses on the Raptors, knowing that that will give him the level 3. Kikis, of course, picking this one, gets the level 3 of his own and will return. So taking a good opportunity, suspecting the Mementos on the top side to get a Scuttle Crab he might not otherwise be able to contest.
And I kind of want to talk about diagnosing some of Rogue's problems and trying to figure out where you put their growth. I feel like one of the biggest issues that they had is kind of the misalignment in terms of Sencux and Kikis' play styles. Kikis is a very like high risk, high reward style of jungler. He'll take the risky plays, and when they pay out, they can pay out quite big for Rogue, whereas Sencux is super conservative. Even when he's on an assassin like an Akali that we've seen in previous games, he just doesn't look for those big style of plays. I think that's where a lot of the disconnect have gone for Rogue stylistically.
Maybe some of that could solve today, but you can see now Sencux is playing on the back foot here as Abbedagge has the lane pressure in this. Level 4 to level 3. Sencux trying desperately to trade back, but so much damage coming in from Abbedagge. These early trades, the Ryze, there's a lot of base damage coming in, and now we may see Memento look for a play here over the wall, but Kikis is moving for the blue buff. Memento could try to contest. Is going to use the blast cone to get over the wall. Looks like he could try to steal that one away. We're going to have to keep our eyes on the bottom side of the map, though. Upset 3 stacks and 4. Flashing 4. They're going to try to burn him down. The Ignite is ticking. Upset running for his life. Is going to be able to make it out of that one. Lots of summoners burned in the end there, but Upset still with the TP is going to make this a difficult one. Now there is a blue buff in Memento, and nothing for Kikis, which means he did win the steal in the end. And
that's the big thing. It's Vander recognizing that they're playing a summoner spell down in terms of having the teleport versus something like a heal, so he's willing to make those hyper-aggressive plays to try to punish the Ezreal.
Sadly, Heaq not going to be like the mana shield there, though, and that means that the wave clear will be slowed at least a little bit. Upset with the TP, just gets to return right back to lane. And now looking at this, it does feel like Memento has been able to shut down. Kikis, though, still playing aggressive here. Corki with the lane pressure means that the Poppy is going to go for this blue buff. I feel like Kikis is taking a bit of a risk here, but Lee Sin is on the Wolves, so may just be able to walk away with this one uncontested.
I mean, it feels like with the priority that he has bot lane, there you go, you can see that Vander's actually rotating up, that Kikis feels comfortable that Corki has locked out Ryze, Braum has walked up behind me, and it's going to be a smite steal. Who got it?
No, it looks like Kikis does manage to grab it in the end. Is the level 4 now coming through. He's going to continue to follow up. Steadfast Presence has already been used. Kikis needs to be careful. Flash forward from Abbedagge. Kikis is going to fall. First blood going over to Schalke and donating the blue buff to the Ryze. It could not be more perfect for this Schalke lineup.
High risk plays from Kikis, and it bites him hard there. Like you said, the fact that Abbedagge is the guy of all people to pick up that kill. Thanks for the free blue buff. I'm also going to get that nice pocket gold to get an easy tier and a sapphire crystal back into lane.
I mean, once again, the ideal startup for the Ryze. So much wave clear now already. You're going to increase the damage as well. One of the nightmare aspects of playing against the Ryze, of course, mana and AP scaling. And Heaq now forced to just farm it up under the tower as Upset and IgNar do play. Does manage to get spell show timing right, but do play for that tower plating and already getting a lot more gold in the Ezreal's pocket. And getting that TP and getting that back means that tier has just started stacking so early, Froskurinn.
Yeah, but it's kind of a question of what does Schalke do with it, and the thing is they've never been a big explosive team in the lane phase. Obviously, if it's handed to them on a platter, that they'll take it, but they've been more about these paper cuts. They kind of whittle you down slowly, build up these small incremental gold leads through CS leads or denying things like experience, and then once it comes to the big group up phase, their team fighting is so crisp and clean that they just tear the game open.
And now we kind of checking across the map, and not incredible gold leads between the lanes, but we do see, of course, Ryze with a decent one from that early kill. But surprisingly, I mean, Finn is doing a pretty good job of holding his own here, is at a CS deficit, but will start to get some of this back as he picks up the wave. So are seeing a little bit of, you know, solid play coming in from Finn early on. It was kind of a question about what form we were going to see. Was he going to be a liability? And in the laning phase, that has not been the case, which is very good news for Rogue.
Yeah, and we kind of had some mixed questions coming into Finn. We peeked in on the Polish League just to kind of get a feel for him. He's very much a guy that plays to kill his lane opponent as to just secure something like a CS or an experience lead, so he is quite bloodthirsty. See if he pays off on that Urgot, now level 6, so has access to the ultimate as well as the unsealed spellbook into the Ignite.
IgNar.
And just trying to hold the wave.
Just playing support duels here. Q's not going to connect, is not going to stop Heaq from sitting under the wave and trying to freeze this one here, but will disrupt it a little bit. Upset, of course, going to walk his way back to lane, has the Sheen in his back pocket, but will be a little bit more difficult to trade against the BF sword of Heaq.
Looking to try to stack down the Mystic Shot. It's still hard to gank Upset, however, when he doesn't have flash, but still has access to his E. So while Heaq and Vander did do their work by pulling the way forward, trying to lure Upset, see if Kikis is able to make sense of that gank, but first top.
Finn with a flash forward, the disdain not going to connect. Odoamne just going to walk out of this one now, trying to commit to the trade. Kikis is here, but a lot burned there for very little in the end.
Looked like big miscommunication as here comes Memento. He's got level 6.
Up against the Poppy, the steadfast presence comes out a little bit late, which means the Sonic Wave is going to be there. He's going to try to flash to safety. Blast Cone as well. Does not connect there in the Sonic Wave in the end. That means Memento is not going to be able to grab the kill, but gets the flash from Kikis for free there.
Again, looks like a completely different page, though. You know, the fact that Finn flashes forward, is trying to go on the aggressive, whereas Kikis is forward in the river, he's backwards in the river, he can't decide, are they going for the play, are they not going for, so some teething pains.
Yeah, difficult spot to find yourself in for sure. But of course, new player to the lineup, can't expect the communication to be perfect his first week on stage. Very young rookie player here. And Abbedagge is struggling a little bit more now that the level 6 has come through from Corki. Obviously, the freedom to harass that wave from a distance is going to make it a lot easier for Sencux to farm up. But after what was an explosive little early jungle pathing contest on some of those blue buffs, the game has slowed down, and this is what you were talking about, Froskurinn, the death by 1,000 cuts from Schalke. But Rogue seemed pretty comfortable in this state as well, as Heaq was doing quite well in the bot lane.
I mean, no, but if you're Schalke, you're totally fine. You're still up against Rogue. You're like, it's fine, take it slow. We have double tier, scaling up is exactly what we want to do, and they're not losing out at any point on the map. They've got CS leads in the top, they have a CS lead in mid, and it's even in the bot lane.
Well, and when this wave crashes, of course, some of that CS is going to go back, but Kikis is here to try to deny some of the action. Can step forward if he wants to, but they're just going to play for the tower plating here. Not going to go for those more aggressive plays, a much more reserved Kikis, but the barrel comes out from IgNar just to say no, you are not going to get your 160 gold.
Meanwhile, Memento stealing away that blue buff, so Kikis is spending a lot of time around his laners, whether he's invading a blue buff or he's trying to force a gank top side, bot side, and meanwhile, it is just punishing him in the end.
And I will say that I very rarely see the Warrior and Champ Poppy jungle, but that I do respect Kikis immensely for going this one. The Copfield's Warhammer coming in. This is a very bloodthirsty Poppy. And you have to imagine once that item is completed, although he is a little bit behind the clock, that it's going to be a pretty big damage threat in some of these exchanges.
You talked about that burst damage on top of having the electrocute keystone available to him. I love the Kikis mentality of live fast, die young.
That is the classic Kikis.
I mean, why not itemize for the damage when you are kind of an innately tanky champion like Poppy? You kind of get the built-in tankiness without having to itemize for it.
And look, at this point, you know, you're a little behind in the jungle, and if you don't have enough damage to kill someone, you're not going to be able to buy enough tankiness to survive them, so I say go for it. And now we're going to see if Rogue can make the play here. They have opted to go for the lane swap, and they've got it in first. Of course, Upset does have the teleport. They can try to stall this one out, but now wave is coming in. IgNar is here, but Vander going to try to stop him from approaching. Jayce there to clear the wave, and Rogue not going to get anything in this one. Upset's going to be left alone on the bottom side. There's no TP available. Finn is going to have to burn Ghost immediately, but doesn't have the TP available on the Summoner Spellbook either, so he's going to run his little way back to bottom lane, but that felt like a bit of an awkward exchange for Rogue. They're going to try to turn this one to get the Rift Herald, but they've been spotted out. Froskurinn, this just feels like a bit of a misplay here.
It's definitely messy. I was like, how do I politically correctly say that it's messy play? It's a messy play. That said, Schalke were like more than keen to take it. They're kind of eyeing and sizing up Rogue, like, are you really going to think that you could take this Rift Herald for free? So while it's a swap, and Finn does manage to make it in time for a big wave, that was so much free time given to Upset to just farm.
Yeah, just to catch up, already building towards that Iceborne Gauntlet, happy to just keep scaling up, to keep working towards that Ezreal point where he does hit those two items, where he does get that Muramon, and he is just such an incredibly strong champion, and much sooner than you might expect Sivir to be on 3, but IgNar is coming in. Spell Shield comes out, beautiful combo there from IgNar. Once again, the timing is clutch, but it may not be enough as he pulls right back through, is going to grab that kill. Vander getting that one, and now they're looking to turn it 2 stacks, 3 and 4, going to come in for Heaq. That's the stun, but the Ryze is here as well, just trying to dissuade any further play, but he's been locked up, not going to get taken down. Unbreakable is there for Vander, and Sencux, just in case, there to back the team up.
Beautiful turn there from Heaq and Vander. I know that IgNar managed to actually get through the spell shield, misposition the Sivir, but didn't count on a lot of that damage. Again, the old school changes to Sivir. She does so much damage now with that Q.
Yeah, the Boomerang Blade is truly oppressive. It is going to force a TP out, 2 TPs out, 3 TPs out, as all the Schalke members have to return to their respective lanes. So for the next few minutes, Rogue are in a nice spot with the TP on Sencux where they can be ahead in terms of the map plays.
But now it's a question of what do they actually get out of it. So he's take another look at this. What, he's popped the spell shield? Yep. Bounces him back in, doesn't account for the damage. I think he went a little bit early though. Memento was coming up the river, so while you are trying to force the play because Vander and Heaq are reading it, reacting, and backing to the tower, why not just wait for your Lee Sin?
And I really love the way Vander plays his Braum, you know, making sure that he's right there to body block, that he's there to disengage with the ultimate coming in. And it's a good look right now, protecting Heaq, keeping Heaq alive, and Heaq ahead in CS. And a good spot to be in as he is just auto wave clearing, waiting for those first few items to come through. And more importantly, Froskurinn, It hasn't been a cliche for a few years, so I feel okay saying it now, but the Trinity Force Power Spike for the Corki, the first item coming through for this character, and I think this is going to change a lot of how the landing phase has been going for Sencux.
That was the one nice thing. Ooh. Hold that thought, though.
Third time is a charm, my friend. The first two did not work, but the third one for Finn will. I guarantee it, audience, you watch next time that flash disdain is up, he will go for it and he will land that one.
Back to my point, though, the nicest thing about Corki disappearing from the meta is I had to stop hearing about that Trinity Force Power Spike, but round 2.
Vander gonna walk away. That one's always a good choice. Now trying to leave. Heaq, lethal tempo has been procced. Upset slowly walking the target down. They're gonna use the ultimate to try to get away from the Lee Sin. The spell shield is there, has to sidestep. Ooh, Heaq. Clean dodge is there not to get hit by anything. A Sonic Wave connecting could have meant death, so good escape in the end.
But it loses them priority over the Rift Herald. You can see that Memento's already started that one up. There's also the wave that's crashing in, so Schalke, death by 1,000 cuts. They've now forced Heaq and Vander out of the lane. Didn't get the kill, but will start to take down some of these tower plates.
Heaq trying to hold on to what he can, but he knows there's no ultimate available. Has to be careful approaching the wave. A body slam could mean death. A lot of burst damage in that Ezreal. You can see the glow around him, showing us that the red pot is there. Memento needs to sidestep that one. They need to decide if they're going to contest this. 3k health getting lower. He's going to be able to secure with the Sonic Wave and the Smite. And they're going to grab that. So pretty big objective going over to Schalke here early on, and that is going to push us towards a state where teams don't get a lane quite as comfortably.
But it still feels that Schalke are totally fine to sit in these lanes. We actually saw that it was Rogue that tried to move away from Schalke, you know, pulling the trigger early, sending their Sivir and their Braum up into the top side. But now that they've been matched, it's kind of business as usual, and these CS discrepancies are still starting to grow, especially in that top lane.
This is a good look for Rogue. Obviously, there's still a deficit, and things are still looking difficult. Schalke, no doubt, are in the lead and are playing their game. But things are looking better than they have for Rogue. Heaq and Vander seem much more on the same page than we saw from Wadid and Heaq in previous weeks. They're working very well together. Is that the patch? Is that 9.3? And, you know, seeing some of these more crit picks come back, or is that the difference in players? Hard to be sure, but it is a solid start for this Rogue lineup. I'm
going to be frank. Sivir can band-aid a lot of things for an AD carry because she is quite easy to play. Heaq, statistically, one of our weaker ADCs in the league, and I think Sivir can be a perfect band-aid to kind of get him back in a position where he's feeling confident and he can actually make an impact on these games.
Oh, now Kikis is looking to get aggressive. Waiting there as Vander tries to get things kicked off. Still not going to go for the engage here. Where is the Warrior Enchant Poppy damage? That is what I am waiting to see. Kikis hovering around. They're going to try to clear this one out, but the Ezreal ulti is there to block. Heaq going to turn it into some mana, but Vander cannot block the ulti. He can stop the Cleave Wave from dying.
But what are you trading on the other side of the map? And it's Odo continuing to abuse this and now getting some help from Memento.
Going to summon the Rift Herald over the wall. Looks like they will try to break this tower. Finn needs to run. This is not at all where he wants to be. He can try to chip this one down, but the Herald Charge will certainly take it. Will they go for a tier 2 as well? Kick is now ready to look for a dive here. Upset has to be smart about how he plays this. Steadfast Presence, of course, not going to block the Ezreal shift there. Trying to buy a bit more time, but the Flash now forced out. One tower is going to drop. The Rift Herald now going to crash in. Where it's going to crash in, we just see now as it visually updates. And Finn, he's just holding on. Does manage to take that one, but there's a Lee Sin and a Jayce there ready to dive him at a moment's notice. This is 2 towers for Schalke, and Rogue are not able to get anything on the top side of the map.
It's just so hard to try to force this tower, even with a Sivir, against the likes of the Gragas as well as Ezreal. The combined wave clear was enough to delay it, and huge win for Schalke.
Yeah, 16 minutes in, 2 towers to 1. Rogue do, in the end, finally get that tower taken down. But Schalke breaking 2 on the bottom side of the map and immediately setting up that vision, continuing the death by 1,000 cuts. And the backs are going to be stalled as well, so these small advantages just snowballing, just continuing to go in the favor of Schalke. And now, because the bot lane is miles away from that Dragon Pit, Memento just gets to walk in for free.
And the thing is it's not small anymore. It's now a 3k gold lead. You got the 2 towers bottom as well as the Mountain Drake. Everyone is now hitting their initial breakpoints for their items. Schalke are going to feel super confident playing this map however they want. If it's continuing to punish with this Jayce in the side lane, if it's actually grouping up and using a lot of the poke damage that comes out of the Ezreal and the Jayce right now, the world's their oyster.
So where are they going to go? And that is the question. Jayce returns to the top side. Ezreal and Gragas look to be setting up home in the mid lane. Abbedagge feeling pretty comfortable on the bottom side. Heaq could go for an ulti here on the hunt if they want to chase. Vander's going to leap forward. That's 1 stack. Going to look for a little bit more. Sencux has to be careful, though. Does get kicked back. Has the package as well. Maybe forced to burn it here in this exchange. Trying desperately to hold on to it. Meanwhile, on the bot side, it looks like the disengage will come in for Abbedagge. No summoner spells burned from the Ryze, so Schalke well played to be able to stop that from happening.
And Vander does feel like the breath of fresh air in this Rogue lineup. Constantly, every single time we see him anywhere in the map, he is trying to make very proactive plays. It's not reflected on the scoreboard for the amount of times that he's tried to get something going.
Absolutely, and now it looks like Schalke, or rather Rogue, could try to take this tower, but Abbedagge is there for the wave clear, and they just do not have the raw damage necessary to kill the Ryze, sadly. Braum great for disrupting a lot of those plays, but doesn't pack the same punch as a lot of the Gragas does.
Yeah, they need to get that Corki involved in these plays. You talked about the Trinity Force. He's now looking for that Infinity Edge, and once those two items are online for him, Corki's going to be packing a serious punch. But unless Sencux is there, it's basically just a tug of war between these creep waves.
And now we wait to see exactly where Rogue are going to go. Of course, just going to, for now, settle for the Blast Cone. Once again, just waiting to see if Rogue have anything left in their playbook. Schalke, for now, happy to sit back. They've had their turn playing. They are going to now pressure in the mid lane, while Rogue try to find an opportunity on the bottom side of the map. Sencux running for his life. Is going to make it out safely, and no summoners burn. So slow and steady is the name of the game.
And Rogue are so desperate to find something here. They're actually just ping-ponging back and forth on two control wards, running up and down this river between mid lane and bot lane. And Schalke are literally just watching them do it. They're just standing and watching these guys run up and down river, desperate for a play.
Interesting. And really, at this stage, Froskurinn, I'm waiting to see signs of life from Rogue. Waiting to see signs of life from Finn. Well, life is there. But sadly, he used the ultimate a little too early, and Odoamne almost hitting that health threshold, but not quite enough. But I like that he's holding on to that tower. Abbedagge, though, is 1v2ing right now to just clear these waves, and that is a tough spot to be in. But it does feel like if Vander leaves, then he could just get taken out.
And that's the thing, though. You know, with this this running up and down the river of Rogue, what it meant is that Odo was just isolated against Urgot. Yeah, when we looked up at Odo, you know, he's flashing away from Urgot, possibly looking for a tower dive there, but he's been left alone. The CS hasn't increased that much, but they are just isolating this Jayce matchup, trying to punish the experienced Odoamne against the inexperienced Finn.
And it's working well for them so far, but I mean, really, when I look at it, Finn getting this Urgot, I think, is a dream for Rogue. It really is band-aiding up what it could have been a lot of weaknesses. The CS deficit isn't that massive. Of course, a 450 gold bounty, despite the fact that Odoamne has, you know, killed nobody here, and has no Klepto either, so interesting one there coming out, but the phase rush making it very difficult for anyone to stick on him. Baron, though, of course, the big center of attention, as it is. 20 minutes. We have the Mountain Drake as well for Schalke and a lot of damage threat. It feels like Rogue need to get some vision down here, or it could turn against him. And a flash, now solo burned by IgNar in this exchange. But Kikis now firing back. That is that Warrior Poppy. That is so much damage, but not quite enough. IgNar now able to flash to safety.
Summoner spell Urgot, though. Finn actually TP'd, thinking that there was going to be an engagement. That means that Odo is left with this minion wave push very deep down Rogue's bottom side of the map. So at this point, Rogue are almost in damage control. They're going to lose a lot of tempo in the rotation towards mid-tower. Yeah, I think they lose it.
Yeah, and Sencux just cannot afford to approach this wave. You have a Gragas and a LEC right there.
You have Jayce cheating up from the bottom side, and the fear of Jayce also getting a flank is what's causing so much caution from Rogue there.
Good that they're respecting it, but Schalke, once again, almost a 4K gold lead now. Slowly bleeding out the opposition. And Schalke, you gotta respect this about this team. Until they have such a massive lead that they know they can smash any fight, they do play so slow and so steady. And even Upset, opting to go for the second tier here. Has the 2-item spike. Feels good about getting that Muramon and that additional on-hit damage on the Qs, but additionally wants the Archangels too. Doesn't want to go for a Blade of the Rune King early. Is quite comfortable sacrificing some of that early power. Now Kikis going to try to make a play back, but takes so much from Abbedagge. Abbedagge just going to sidestep his way out of there. Phase rush looking so strong right now, and that's a lot of resources burned. Kikis basically out of this fight. Memento fishing for the engage, but it's not going to happen.
And that's the third time that Abbedagge has been basically 1v3 or at least 1v2, absorbed all of those important cooldowns and walked away. Meanwhile,
Finn wants to go forward. The ulti comes out. That's going to be a small slow. Q does go in. I don't think he's going to have enough time. Is he going to be able to take this one down? Does not quite work out for him in the end. Just barely falls off there. Odoamne going to knock him back and start trying to run away. Oh my. A game of inches. Finn so close to finding the solo kill versus Odoamne. But too many things just went against him. The ulti maybe a bit too early, and now Sencux, the man on the hunt, going to try desperately to clear out some vision, but IgNar knows right where he is. Upset does as well. Sencux has to be careful.
Too deep. Too deep.
Has the eject button, though, in the package.
Yeah, zip out of that one.
And, I mean, the good news is that Finn is still... Oh, there's Kikis immediately going to go in to try to take out IgNar. Didn't work last time. Does work this time. The Corki there with the Trinity Force proc. Secure it.
Yeah, and got that CC lock. Excellent play from Kikis. And now, finally, it feels like Rogue have locked down Schalke, forced to fight them, and are organizing all of their ducks in a row. What do they want to pick? Looks like it's going to be Mountain Dragon.
Man advantage. They are going to set their sights on the Drake. That is going to be important, but you can see the Ryze and the Lee Sin now moving up. Are they looking for Baron Vision? Looks like it's going to be the top wave and the tower as well as Ryze Realm Warps up. So will be traded back for Schalke. Rogue sadly not able to get anything for free at this point in the game.
And that's the nice thing about Schalke, showcasing their experience, the fact that even when they lose an opportunity like that, they're still gaining something, you know? They're not just kind of posturing around watching Rogue take a dragon that you see some of the bottom tier LEC teams do. They're always making sure that you trade it for a tower, you're getting a farm across multiple lanes, you're securing vision around major objectives next, like the Baron.
Going to be important. Of course, the Mountain Drake as well, you know, getting the Baron when it does actually come time, if they find that opportunity, being able to burn it down. Maybe we see some creative playmaking like we saw from SK in the previous game to go for the two-man. Do have a lot of major damage threats in terms of the Corki and the Sivir, but it's a lot about making them warm for the team.
And at this point in the game, you almost feel the tension for Rogue because they know that they have like the clear win conditions to win this, because if you go hyper late, the scaling of Corki and Sivir is just disgusting, especially in grouped up team fights and especially around monster objectives like the Baron. So even though Rogue are down in gold, I think they're probably feeling pretty confident in comms. Like, guys, this is fine. Just stall out, collect it, group up, neutralize the map.
And they're in a good spot, because I think when we look at late game fights too, you talk about a Sivir and a Corki, they have a really good front line to protect those two characters. We have a Braum, we have a Poppy, we have an Urgot. It is very hard to get into that back line. And if you're the Jayce, who the poke damage is not quite as potent when you move into the late game, when you really want to find kind of that execute like we saw from Bwipo on the other day, where you leap into the back line and one-shot an AD carry, pretty difficult if there's a Poppy standing next to that AD carry. So many ways to disrupt any backline threat.
But it is the fact that Schalke don't have to play the grouped up 5v5. They can play these side waves. They've done so well, especially with all of the mobility built in with, what, 3 teleports, as well as having access to the Realm Warp from Ryze. I'm curious how Schalke are going to split up this map, if they feel confident to try to go toe-to-toe with Rogue's 5v5, or if they are going to continue the 1-3-1, drag Rogue around and kind of play that outsmarting game.
Ryze slowly stepping forward on the top side of the map. Finn is going to be forced to burn the Ghost there, the Summoner Spellbook. Now backing off. The remaining members of Rogue are just hovering around this Baron pit.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is that Rogue don't have vision down there, so while Finn suspects that there are members trying to gank him, they don't know exactly the placement of everyone and how quickly they're moving across this map. It wasn't enough to give them the confidence to say, okay, this is Rogue's Baron, we're going to start it.
Yeah, in a difficult spot to be in for sure. Finn just constantly getting a lot of attention here. There's no tier 2 tower. Looks like they are going to try to go for the play here. IgNar buying his time, waiting. Is going to flash out from Finn, though. Difficult cooldown to lose. IgNar playing that one nice and slow.
And across map, that's been Kikis fishing multiple times for Abbedagge. I believe that's like the 5th attempted gank on him.
Yeah, really just trying to shut that one down. And kudos to Abbedagge. Phase Rush on Ryze, so incredibly strong. And of course, has the stack Seraph's Embrace, has the Spellbinder almost at 100 stacks as well. And
here we go.
Maybe this is the arena. And of course, looking for that 3rd item from Sivir. Very strong point in the game for that champion, but does not quite have it yet. On the hunt has been burned. Odoamne hoping to find this play. Abbedagge on the backside. They need to run. Kikis going to look for the disengage. That's going to be key, but he doesn't hit anybody. Sacrificial lamb. They're trying to disengage. Heaq right into the meat grinder. Sencux trying to fire back. They've got 2 AD carries here. They can do some damage. Finn now on the front line. Schalke playing this one a lot slower, realizing the fight could turn against them if they overstay their welcome. Now pulling back, slow and steady fight for Schalke once again. They can turn their sights to the Baron if they want to. Kikis is down.
And that's the question, is Sencux enough to dissuade Schalke from just turning on this Baron since he has grouped up? But with all of that vision, very deep control ward underneath that blue buff, as well as the teleport coming through, they know it, they don't care, they're gonna force it. You must fight us.
Oh, and Heaq is so incredibly low. 1 empowered Shock Blast could just delete him off the face of the map. Sencux is here as well. They sidestep that one. They're now moving in. Have to respect Finn, the damage potential in the pit, but their eyes are set on the Baron. It's IgNar on the backside. He's looking for the flank, looking for an opportunity to end this one right where it is. The Baron already down. IgNar, attention divided here, trying to buy a bit of time. Finn leaping back to the team. The ulti comes out. Finn not going to get the fear, though. IgNar manages to live, but is immediately taken down. Heaq, they're fighting in a funnel. Maybe they can get this one. Flash forward from Sencux. Kikis on the way in. But slowly, Schalke are just disengaging this Iceborne Gauntlet, stopping the Poppy in her tracks, not able to find anything else. The ulti coming in from Upset. Now, Schalke are looking to push down this middle lane. Upset is here. Instead, going to settle for the Raptors and look to reset after that Baron play.
And it is just table scraps for Rogue right there. The fact that they only picked up IgNar, burning the Baron buff off of the support, but otherwise, Schalke make out with murder.
I mean, IgNar so close to escaping as well, and really just felt like there was no right option there for Rogue after this fight went the way it did.
And this is from them overcommitting to trying to get Abbedagge, which he just used the Realm Warp to disengage, and then once Rogue had overextended all the way up to that 2nd tier tower on the top side, it was such an easy call for Schalke to just rock up behind Rogue and delete them with the gold lead that they have.
It was, and it just Well played to slow it down when they saw the Sivir and the Corki doing so much damage to their front line, backing it up. And of course, this replay brought to you by Alienware. And as this one plays out, Schalke just in perfect position to take that Baron. And Rogue just are not in a good spot here. There's really no great option once that Baron goes down. Sencux has to run for his life. IgNar desperately tries to find the flank. Luckily, Vander's there to stop it, though.
And unfortunately, we still can't find the solution to the Rogue problem about why they can't put together some of these wins. It feels like Sencux is a bit invisible this game, does have a kill to his name, but otherwise, you're not seeing those game-changing Corki plays. He's not swinging out to these lanes or finding these assassinations.
They're not moving forward, but they're split on what the call is. They don't know where the rest of the members are, so they're just burning some of the cooldowns there, some of those item actives before pushing it any further, and towers are falling left and right. This is that 1-3-1 you talked about, Froskurinn.
Just brutal. Rogue's comp wants to be together, but they're getting split up, allows the Baron to apply pressure in all of the lanes and makes very difficult decisions for a newly cemented Rogue roster.
And of course, Ezreal just going to shred through these towers. The power on his new W is just incredible for cutting that one down. Upset still playing so far on the front line, not scared at all.
Yeah, for me, it's the W. I think that's the big problem on Ezreal. I wish if we just fixed that, I think it would tune down some of his balance issues.
Yeah, the fact that it can proc on turrets is a little obnoxious. The sieging already quite strong. Pretty difficult to survive under the tower here. Finn unconcerned about Odoamne, but Upset is going to take down a tower in the mid lane, and now slowly but surely, Schalke are breaking into the base. Rogue now trying to group up, looking for an opportunity, but there's just so many tools to get out of these fights on the side of Schalke that it's so hard for Rogue to get one started. IgNar, though, going to kick off the fight there with Kikis, just trading some cooldowns. Abbedagge moves in on the top side while Kikis' attention is divided. He's throwing out an ulti. It's not going to hit anybody. Not at all what he needed, and Abbedagge remains uncontested on the top side. One more cheeky auto to get it in. We're going to see if he can get anything else, though, as the tower already falls. The shield comes out, the flash to safety, the phase rush is procced, and that man just gets to walk away. That's how you play it, Ryze. That's exactly how it works out, and another inhibitor is going to fall. Schalke tearing Rogue apart, pulling from each and every angle that they can to find this one. Upset going to walk forward, the rest of the team collapsing, and they don't even need the super minions. The Baron is still there powering it up, and Rogue hoping for a last desperate fight, but I don't even know if Schalke is going to give it to them as the inhibitors are going to start to fall left and right.
Just suffocation. They're just putting them in the sleeper hold.
Oh, God. A chokeout game, no doubt. Schalke got to play this one cleanly. Rogue showed a few signs of life here and there, but at the end of the day, it was an objective game. 1 tower to 9, that's what you need to be looking at. Schalke playing this one slow and steady, and no doubt winning the race here. They are going to back off. They are going to play tutorial mode, as I believe VODS called it earlier today. They're going to take every objective possible on the map before they end this game. Make sure they finish all those mini quests.
PvE. So how do you fix Ezreal?
Maybe the W thing is right. I don't know. This,
I mean,
honestly, the fact that like he's one of the only champions in the game that builds Muramana.
That's the thing. When you have
Kleptomancy too, maybe Kleptomancy is a little strong.
One champion, like one item for a single champion in the game.
Who else builds Muram?
Not saying that Muramana's the problem, but it's just a bit peculiar.
It's just interesting.
His trade patterns with W, what are you supposed to do? You can just throw it through the minions.
And we've seen the Gunblade Ezreal come out too, where he can just one-shot somebody. Incredibly powerful champion. Has always, when he's in pro play, felt so strong. Sivir, of course, though, at that point where finally she's going to start feeling like a strong champion too. For Froskurinn, we have the 3 items, the IE, the Rapid Fire Cannon, and the Static Shift.
That's the silver lining when all of your inhibs go down. Sivir's like, it's my time to shine. I can hold it, boys.
I will take all of the gold. How many games have we seen where the Sivir has been able to farm up to 500 CS because literally there's just creeps flooding down every lane and suddenly the team fights can turn. 3
free farm lanes just pumping into her base.
Maybe it's enough, but we all know it's a long shot. No doubt that Schalke feel like this is their victory lap. They can't just walk it down, but of course can't count your opponents out. Have not ended the game yet. Heaq doing his diligence to try to clear these waves. Sencux as well with an IE of his own. You can see those magic damage crits definitely hitting hard. And no real tanky member of the Schalke lineup, so if one of these guys does get caught out, it is pretty quick to fall.
It does mean that Schalke will have to pull the trigger on a team fight because Sivir can infinitely wave clear, especially in tandem with Corki. So you're looking at Memento, you're looking at IgNar, probably IgNar with how he's been playing this game to find the big trigger.
Sencux going to take a bit of damage there. Poke comes out from Odoamne. Maybe they feel like this is enough. Double supers coming in every lane. They're trying to clear these creeps. Sencux going to back off, though. A moment of pause. That's one of the carries as one of the wave clear threats backs off. But notice how little damage has been done to the towers here. The creep wave spawning at the perfect time, and Heaq more than happy to rake in all that gold.
And Schalke are actually going to play this one by the book. They don't want to trifle with this. They think the Baron is free. We've got 3 inhibs down. Possibly set up a trap here because you know that they have to check it. Nah, We'll just zip with Realm Warp, burn it down.
They're ready to go. I think they're ready to take the fight. They know that maybe if Rogue just runs into them, they can get the fight that they're looking for. Now trying to buy time. Backing off of this one, though. Play acting was feigning the Baron Star. Now they are going to commit to it. Rogue now have to back off as the super minions crash in. So Schalke taking this one down, and will now have double supers in every lane alongside the Baron buff. That should be all she wrote. However, Sivir always have to hold out. Maybe, just maybe, but we're dwindling down to single percentage chances here, Froskurinn.
At this point, if you're a Rogue fan, you're looking for those inhibs to respawn. It shouldn't be too much longer now because they went down fairly close to each other, but Sivir can keep this base alive.
Ooh, Infernal as well. So insult to injury. Schalke very much set up for success here. Have to respect the potential of the engage at any moment on the side of Rogue, and you can see that Kikis was kind of the forward playmaker earlier. Now he knows he's on defense duty. Nope, he wants to be the forward playmaker. He's immediately going to go in on Abbedagge. They're going to try to find the fight. Heaq though on the backside needs an opportunity to do something damage, but Upset is weaving in and out of this fight, throwing shots left and right. Immediately the flash from Sencux. Odo sets his sights on the Nexus. Schalke are just picking them apart. Heaq cannot find an opportunity. He's so incredibly low. He's running for his life. He just wants to auto attack, but no one will stand still long enough for him to hit him. Schalke peeling apart the Rogue players, tearing them from their base, and they're just going to immediately end the game. They found everything they needed. That's the ace. That's the Nexus. Schalke with the clean finish.
As you called it, a victory lap is what it looked like. Schalke put Rogue into their base, kept them locked down, and just played methodical League of Legends.
Slow and steady wins the race. And at the end of the day, Schalke can feel pretty good about that one.